कैप ने जाटों को बेच दिया सरकार के हाथ, ये बिके हुए हैं। ये अगर ऐसे ही चलता रहा तो ये अपनी राजनीति के चक्कर में जाटों की सारी चीज़ें वो बन गया नाक का मसला।
Welcome to a new show of Correspondents. We'll be discussing about the riots which have been plaguing the Western Uttar Pradesh. We have with us Professor Zoya Hassan, Senior Journalist Ravish Kumar, and Atul Chaurasia, Senior Correspondent with the Hindi magazine of Tehelka. Ma'am, I'll start with you. You've seen the riots which have been taking place in Western Uttar Pradesh. The police says that there is no political interference, but there are political parties which are creating disturbances. However, the politicians say that it's a law and order problem. What do you exactly see?
I think it's a classic case of organized violence, and violence which has been organized by political organizations and political parties. And in this case, it's very obvious that different organizations of the Sangh Parivar have been very active in different parts of UP, and in particular in central UP, in and around Awadh, and in western UP. So that's one aspect of it. The second aspect of it is, of course, the Samajwadi Party. The Samajwadi Party has also been, is very much to blame, because it's again a classic case of state failure. Because in this case, there was advance information that there is a lot of conflict and tension and differences that have been brewing in western UP and in and around Muzaffarnagar. And it's very obvious that for at least 2 weeks before the actual violence took place, or before that Mahapanchayat, there was enough evidence of tension, and not very much was done. It is, as I said, really a very strong example of communal mobilization. It's communal mobilization for political gains. And who stands to benefit from this? I think the biggest beneficiary so far is the BJP, because BJP did not have a very strong presence in western UP. Although I would say that if you look at the early 1990s, the Ayodhya movement received considerable support from western UP. But I think you can then understand that it hasn't really been difficult to revive this kind of situation that has happened.
I'll bring in Ravish on this. All of us have been discussing that BJP is responsible for this. The 84 Kosi Yatra, Amit Shah coming into the picture, Narendra Modi being anointed. But how do you see the SP's failure? After all, SP is in power there, and we've seen that it has failed. Doesn't it impact on the SP's political future?
देखिए, इन दंगों के संदर्भ में आप अमित शाह को लेकर किसी तरह का कट ऑफ पॉइंट नहीं बना सकते, क्योंकि अगर आप फैक्ट देखेंगे तो ज़्यादातर दंगे अमित शाह के ऑफिशियली आने से पहले हो चुके थे। यहाँ पे जो चीज़ें हो रही थी, जिस तरह से अभी मैम ने कहा कि एक ऑर्गेनाइज्ड तरीके से किया गया है, लेकिन एक चिंता की बात यह है कि हर नैरेटिव में एक लड़की है जिसके साथ छेड़छाड़ हुई है और जिसके साथ रेप हुआ है। बाद में किसी और नैरेटिव से पता चलता है कि बाइक से टक्कर हो गई थी, तो थोड़ी कहा-सुनी हुई थी। लेकिन इसमें बाता-बाती में, कहा-सुनी में जो स्टेट फेलियर है, पुलिस का फेलियर है, उसमें फिर मौका मिलता है कि फिर एक और बीजेपी के ज़िलाध्यक्ष वहाँ से गुजर रहे हैं, फिर उन्होंने और को बुलाया, फिर वाल्मीकि के साथ जाट गुजर का अलायंस हो जाता है, फिर वो मुस्लिम बस्तियों में जाते हैं। तो ये बहुत तरह के नैरेटिव वहाँ पर चल रहे हैं, और इसमें एक कॉमन नैरेटिव दोनों तरफ से निकल के आता है कि समाजवादी पार्टी की सरकार आने के बाद से थानों में मुसलमानों के खिलाफ रजिस्ट्रेशन, FIR वगैरह होना कम हो गया है, उनकी शिकायत नहीं होती है। इस तरह की जब कम्युनल पॉलिटिक्स जब पिच करती है, तो इस तरह के नैरेटिव्स को उभारती है कि हमारी लड़की को छेड़ा, हमारे लोगों के साथ भेदभाव हो रहा है। ये इस तरह का भेदभाव हर कम्युनिटी के साथ पुलिस स्टेशन करती है, वो सिर्फ उसके साथ नहीं करती है। लेकिन वाल्मीकि हमेशा से ट्रेडिशनली रहे हैं बीजेपी के तरफ, लेकिन जाटव और जो वहाँ का मुस्लिम कॉम्बिनेशन है, इसमें किसी तरह का रिफ्ट नहीं आया है। तो एक तरह से फिर ये देखना पड़ेगा कि ये ऐसा क्या हुआ और क्या ऐसा होने दिया गया कि जाट क्यों नाराज़ हुआ। उसके नाराज़ होने के कई नैरेटिव में एक नैरेटिव ये भी है कि मायावती की राज में शशांक शेखर सिंह मुजफ्फरनगर से आते हैं, तो वहाँ पर थानों से लेकर जाटों का काफ़ी वर्चस्व था, DM से लेकर SP तक उन ज़िलों में। और मायावती के राज में जब पुलिस की बहाली होती है तो शायद एक ऐसी व्यवस्था अपनाई गई थी कि उनको कंप्यूटर चिप दिए गए थे जिससे रिकॉर्ड में छेड़छाड़ नहीं हुई। तो पहली मर्तबा जो जाट इकोनॉमिकली पीछे जा रहे थे उनको बहुत बड़ी संख्या में नौकरी मिली फेयर तरीके से, बिना पैसे दिए। इस वक्त पुलिस और दरोगा की भर्तियों का फिर अनाउंसमेंट हुआ है। इनको लग रहा है कि पिछली बार की तरह जो कोर्ट ने उनको स्ट्रक डाउन किया था कि यादवों को ही ज़्यादा भर्ती कर लेंगे, हमें नौकरी नहीं मिलेगी, तो एक नहीं मिलेगी उसकी एंग्जाइटी और थानों में हमारी कोई शिकायत नहीं हो रही है जी, हमारी कोई सुनवाई नहीं हो रही है, उसका एंग्जाइटी। तो इस और लड़की के साथ छेड़छाड़, इन सारी चीज़ों को लेकर एक नैरेटिव को बुना गया है।
अतुल, आप होके आए वहाँ पर, आप थे वहाँ पर 2-3 दिन, आपने क्या देखा?
मैं थोड़ा सा बेसिक चीज़ें बताना चाहूँगा जो मैंने वहाँ पर आए। जो 2 नैरेटिव हैं कि एक तो लड़की को छेड़ने का मामला था और दूसरा ये था कि एक दिन पहले 26 तारीख को गौरव की शाहनवाज की बाइक से टक्कर हुई थी। अच्छा, ये जो दूसरा वाला है जो बाइक से टक्कर वाला, ये ज़्यादा ऑथेंटिक है क्योंकि मैं वहाँ पे ये दोनों मतलब गौरव के फादर ने भी एक्सेप्ट किया कि हाँ 26 को वहाँ पे ऐसा कुछ हुआ था, और ये शाहनवाज के पिता ने, जो कि अभी तक भागा हुआ था, लेकिन कल हमने उसको 10 लाख का वो चेक दिलवाया, वो कहीं से बुला के वापस, वो देवबंद में था वहीं पे। तो ये वाली स्टोरी जो है ये ज़्यादा ऑथेंटिक है। लड़की वाली स्टोरी थोड़ा सा बनावटी सी, मतलब उसमें बहुत ज़्यादा कहीं से निकल के
है ही नहीं, लड़की
हाँ,
है नहीं है, स्टोरी ऑथेंटिक नहीं।
ये क्योंकि वो दूसरी तरफ से कहीं से और वो हो ही नहीं रहा है,
देखिए
दोनों है ना, दूसरी तरफ से कहीं से वो स्टोरी साबित हो रही है, जबकि बाइक वाली में दोनों पक्षों के और इसके अलावा न्यूट्रल लोगों से भी ये हुआ कि हाँ 26 को कहासुनी हुई थी।
We all agree on this that as far as the narrative is concerned here, there were things which were going on for the last 15-20 days. The administration, I would say about for the last 1 month, the administration wasn't know of it. The political leadership was also perhaps of the state in the loop that there is some tension which is simmering. But my question, ma'am, to you is that why didn't strict action was taken against all this so that it could have been nipped in the bud? Because all narratives which we are talking about, these are things which take place in almost every district of Uttar Pradesh. There are more than 80 districts in Uttar Pradesh.
लेकिन ये डिज़ाइन है। आप प्रतापगढ़ में भी देखिए, मैं जस्ट ऐड कर दे रहा हूँ, इससे पहले आप जवाब दें। प्रतापगढ़ में भी यही हुआ था कि एक दलित लड़की के साथ कथित रूप से कोई बलात्कार होता है, फिर वहाँ से वो लोग उठ के जाते हैं, मुस्लिम बस्तियों को जला देते हैं, फिर ज़ियाउल हक जिसकी रिपोर्ट तैयार करने जाता है, फिर ज़ियाउल हक को मार दिया जाता है, वो रिपोर्ट कहाँ गई उसे कुछ पता नहीं चलता है। तो ये लड़की छेड़ने वाली वो सही है या गलत है? जैसे ये दूसरा उदाहरण बता रहे हैं कि वो एक नैरेटिव जो है वो फिक्स कर दी गई है अलग अलग कम्युनिटी के खिलाफ वर्सेस मुस्लिम।
So how do you see? Do you think that if they would have acted more strongly, perhaps the situation would not have come to this?
No, I think what is emerging from what you've said and what the others have said is very clear that there were very small incidents, and these small incidents are quite common across UP or perhaps I would say North India. And in fact, if you look at the whole history of violence in India, communal violence, it usually starts with rumors and Chirkhani, or as you said, maybe in this case, this motorbike accident or whatever that is, whether it was by design or we don't know. So I think this is fairly common. So this is not unique to Muzaffarnagar. So I don't think we should overstate the role of small incidents, because I think it, from the way in which it is being presented, not here but in general, is I've noticed it on a lot of TV discussion that the whole focus is on these incidents, and this in a way we allow larger political forces to get away, because we are in a way trivializing a much larger game plan that has been at work by focusing on the everydayness of this violence. Yes, there are everyday issues, these are very common issues, but let's face it, the stakes are very high in UP. It's very clear that the BJP and Narendra Modi are focused on North India and more particularly on UP, even more than Bihar. These are the two states that they're aiming to pick up 30 to 40 seats to be able to sort of make it to, let us say, 150 or 160 for BJP to emerge as the single largest party. Now, so their focus, and I would say that the appointment of Amit Shah, even though there have been communal incidents, as was very rightly pointed out by Ravish, for the past 1 year, and even in Muzaffarnagar the tension has been brewing for a while. But the fact of the matter is that the appointment of Amit Shah as the campaign chief was a signal, and the signal was polarization, was polarization, creating differences, and working on this whole strategy of minority appeasement. Now, no doubt, both Congress and Samajwadi Party do appease minorities, and I think very wrongly appease Muslims sometimes. They go along with them on issues, very small cultural issues, when in fact the focus should be on more substantive issues. But the point is that but if you look at the BJP narrative of minority appeasement, it's not that it is always whenever something is done for minorities, whether it is the appointment of the Satya Committee report, or it is some kind of affirmative action for them, or it is, let us say, appointment of Muslims to government positions, or very recently in UP, it is very clear that both in the assembly as well as in the panchayats, after a very, very long time, you have a very substantive presence of Muslims, especially in Western UP. But let's not forget that Muslims constitute in Western UP almost 30% of the population of at least 6 to 8 districts. Now, if they are 30%, and if about 15% of those elected to panchayats or 20% are Muslims, that's not something that should alarm anyone, but it clearly alarms the BJP, it alarms the media, because I've noticed that even over the last, including the English language media, is very alarmed by some of these developments. Now, and I think there is a resentment that in UP, for a variety of reasons, Muslims have been able to get some of what is due to them as citizens of India. This is citizen. I mean, it's all very well to talk about appeasement, but you forget that Muslims are citizens of this country, and they should be given the rights that are the rights, substantive rights, not just cultural rights of personal law and security. I'm talking about substantive rights. They have a right to higher education, and not minority education institutions. They have a right to be educated in my university, in Delhi University, in Lucknow University, in Meerut University. They have just look at the, let me just complete. Muslims constitute 19% of UP's population. And if you exclude Aligarh Muslim University and you were to just look at universities across Uttar Pradesh, and just see the number of Muslims who hold faculty positions in these universities, and then you would know the reality. Now, if tomorrow you find, or in 10 years, that there is some increase, immediately there will be this whole campaign of minority appeasement.
We'll just slip into a short break, and we'll continue this discussion after that. We'll just slip into a short break. We'll just come back after the break.